Well, welcome everyone. Deb Brookshire here with Ancient Nutrition, Director of Key Accounts. And I'm so excited to have with us today Dr. Greg Abbott from the Wellness Way, which is headquartered in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Dr. Abbott is the Director of Doctor and Student Development, does a lot of training with doctors and prospective doctors for the Wellness Way. Just a really great individual. I know Dr. Greg personally, and I'm just excited to have you with us and share some really great things with our audience today about bone broth and why you feel so strongly about it. So first of all, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. Any testimonials or stories you can start us out with, anything that comes to mind with bone broth protein and how it impacted a patient's life?
Yeah, so I'll get personal right away. So it was actually a friend of my mom's, and she's like, okay, what can I do? I feel like, just my body's not like where it used to be, and noticing my nails and my hair and all these things were starting to kind of, get worse and worse over time. I'm like, have you ever tried some bone broth protein? She's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, just try it. And so that's it. That's all I told her. She started trying it, and I get a few months later, I get a phone call from her. She's like, I don't know what it is about it, but holy cow, my skin's better than it's ever been. My nails are stronger, my ear. And so, just out of the gates, that's one of my favorite things to hear, especially because, again, in health consumer world, females do tend to have a dominant presence. And, especially even what we see clinically, what female does not want to see some of those benefits.
Exactly. Well, great. It's always great to hear those kinds of stories, and we're just thrilled that there are so many of them out there. Well, share with us, I know you do a lot of testing in the various Wellness Way clinics. You don't guess, you test. Share with us why it is that you feel bone broth protein then is such a foundational product for patients across the board typically.
Oh, I think it's significant. Number one, and this is something, not just certainly what we do, with the Wellness Way, but a lot of more, natural-minded health practitioners out there are really looking, okay, where's the source? What is the starting point that people need to get right? And a lot of it comes down to the gut. What is the foundation of that? Well, if you don't have the proper building blocks to make sure that your gut can be as healthy as it possibly can be, it can manifest into a whole lot of issues out there. And so that premise of testing for us is to basically say, we're going to test the gut. We're going to do it through different blood tests and stool tests, different ways of going about that. But ultimately, with the end result being, we've got to be able to recommend something foundationally for people to make sure they're getting what their body needs.
Absolutely. And with the type 2 collagen and the chondroitin sulfate and the hyaluronic acid, obviously some of those benefits include supporting a healthy gut and supporting healthy skin, like you referred to earlier, supporting healthy joints, and those really all work together in that way. So very cool. How do you understand the importance of that? How do you and the other doctors help patients to quickly realize the importance of consuming bone broth, or in this case, bone broth protein?
Yeah, I'll give you two very specific ways we do that. So number one is actually because one of the first things we do when patients come into our office is we assess what they're currently doing. And the one thing that we find so commonly that we want to start correcting right away is it seems like everybody has been told and they believe they need calcium supplements. And so one of the things we start to educate our patients on right away is we need a better understanding of, number one, why they're taking it. And most of the time, again, it's bone density support, all these connective tissue type reasons. But when we actually look at the bone itself, how much of that is the type 2 that you just discussed? How much of it do they actually need from that there's no way they're getting through normal means if they're not supplementing directly with that? And ultimately, secondarily to that, one of the things that we make a very, very concerted effort to do is make sure that everything somebody is putting into their body is the highest possible quality. And there are 1,000 different proteins out there for people to choose from. And so when we can recommend something like a bone broth protein that is not only incredibly health beneficial, but it's also not going to poison them at the same time, it's a win-win. And so that's really where we start to educate our patients, because they're looking for protein replacement. They just don't necessarily know where to get it from, and we love being able to go to bone broth protein for that.
That is great. Great. Thanks for sharing both of those things. How do you direct them in ways to simply incorporate it into their daily routine? How do you do that? What are your favorite ways?
Yeah, one of the most basic is we say shake a day. And so whether that's just through a nutritional shake or smoothie that they make, myself and a lot of our other docs and our patients are getting there, but we love putting in our coffee. And so if you're going to make coffee, just blend it with the bone broth protein. It's fantastic. So certainly a little more in the drink orientation. It's something that throughout our patients' care with us, we also at some point will recommend a detox program for them. And part of that detox program comes with a bone broth protein shake recommendation to make sure they're getting nutritionally supported during that program. And so there's certainly multiple ways we accomplish that. But yeah, we're a fan of the smoothies or shakes, and ultimately the coffee is the way I prefer it. But it's nice. You don't have to drink the same, not that coffee is bad, certainly, but hey, getting a little chocolate or vanilla flavor can go a long way sometimes.
Oh, exactly. That's great. I'm right there with you. What other wins come to mind when you think as far as patients that have benefited, and what can you share with us? Maybe one additional patient.
Yeah, I still think the bottom line that most people underestimate is, whatever issue it might be. I love it. Being a chiropractor, we're working on people, we're adjusting them, working with the spine and trying to get all their joints right. If they're not providing the nutrient foundation for healthy joints, we can be correcting their spine, adjusting them all day long, recommending exercises. But if they don't have the proper building blocks for their connective tissue, you're only going to get so far. And that's something I try and instill into our doctors to ultimately communicate to the patients, to basically say, hey, you can be doing a lot of things right, but if you don't have the fundamental starting point of what your body needs, you can only get so far.
Yes, that is so true. What percentage of your patients would you say are using bone broth protein as part of their healthy routine?
Pretty much all. Probably all of them to a certain degree. And what's nice is we don't even have to approach it from trying to convince them anymore. Most of our clients in general are so health conscious that they come to us asking, what's the best that I can take? We've created, certainly through mass marketing in the nutrition world, really supplements are not only, they're not new. Certainly they've been around now for a while, but most people have availability of more information than they've ever had. And so they're like, I don't even know what to do. What do you guys recommend? And so it's almost a from day one conversation we get to have with people now. And again, it's very rare that we don't have a patient that's on some sort of bone broth protein on a consistent basis, because it tastes great and it's not going to hurt them going down. And that's the beautiful thing about it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. And congratulations on the explosion of growth really within the Wellness Way community. I know you've been expanding clinics, and it's the reason patients are starting to seek you out and find out, is there a Wellness Way in my area? Dr. Flynn has his new book out, I Disagree. Awesome book. So if people listening haven't checked it out, Dr. Patrick Flynn, I Disagree. How many clinics do you have at this point, Dr. Greg, across the country?
Yeah, we are now over 60 and still counting. We actually just had our first international clinic open in Ireland, which is really cool. So we're now getting overseas a little bit, which is really neat to see. And again, we're not doing it because we just want to grow. We're doing it because we believe the results that our offices are seeing, and ultimately what patients want, is a unique area of emphasis that we can provide and meet a need. So that's been, a very organic type of growth, which has been really fun to see.
It is. It's great. And I know from a personal standpoint, my husband and I have both had some testing in your office, and you do a great job of really digging into some of the things that a regular primary care physician certainly isn't checking those things. So just really great, or at least in some cases, they're not. So really great to have you on board. How do people learn more about the Wellness Way? Would you like to share the website and any other way that people can get in touch if doctors are looking to see more of what you do?
Absolutely. The easiest is just spend some time on our website, which is just thewellnessway.com. Probably the easiest way to go about it. We're on pretty much every social media platform in one way or the other. So again, just the Wellness Way, or Dr. Patrick Flynn has one that we put content out regularly, and our goal is purely informational purposes. And if it spurns you to want to do more, great. But we just want to provide information that we don't believe people are getting appropriately anymore. Because again, like I said, there's so much out there now. What really should you be listening to, and what might need a little different filter? So that's our goal by providing those resources.
Well, fantastic. Thank you again so much for taking the time today to share with us. And we appreciate everything you're doing to make the world a better place, help people get healthier. We appreciate working with you here at Ancient Nutrition, and just congratulations again. Thanks so much, Dr. Greg.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And I just have to, one last thing. I love it when I walk into our office and we see all these massive cardboard boxes show up that we know, hey, that's our Ancient Nutrition order. So so it's kind of fun. We know when it comes. It's awesome. So
well, it's our privilege to be a very small part of what you do and the big impact that you have. So thank you for including us.
Very cool. Thank you.
All right. Have a great one.
You as well.